November 15th, 1988, a date that basketball fans in Chicago and Philadelphia will never forget. It wasn't the finals, it wasn't even the playoffs, but that night, the energy inside Chicago Stadium felt like a championship game, because this was the night a young Michael Jordan decided to send a message to the entire league and to one man in particular, Charles Barkley. What happens when two young legends collide before the world realizes they're legends? You get one of the most electrifying duels the NBA had ever seen. The Sixers came into the game confident, with Barkley leading the charge. He was strong, fearless, and ready to dominate. But what Philly didn't realize was that Michael Jordan wasn't just there to win. He was there to take over the future of basketball. Back in 1988, the league was in transition. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird still ruled the NBA, but everyone knew change was coming. Jordan and Barkley, both drafted in 1984, were the faces of that new generation. Barkley was already the heart of Philadelphia, carrying the post-Dr. J torch. Jordan was Chicago's unstoppable force, a player who was rewriting what greatness looked like every night. The Bulls had finally started winning, breaking the 50-win barrier for the first time, and Jordan had already claimed MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. But that wasn't enough. He wanted more. He wanted to prove he was the future king of the NBA, and Barkley was standing in his way. As the players warmed up, the noise inside the arena built to a roar. The Bulls' iconic introduction song by the Alan Parsons Project echoed through the stadium, giving chills to everyone watching. Doug Collins stood on the sidelines with assistant Phil Jackson beside him, whispering last-minute strategy. Across the court, Barkley looked locked in, arms crossed, eyes narrowed, ready to battle. When the ball finally went up, the two stars bumped fists in a brief moment of mutual respect. And then it began. Charles Barkley drew first blood, bullying his way into the paint with that signature power move. He might have been undersized, but nobody played bigger than Barkley. Still, Michael wasted no time reminding everyone whose house this was. He picked off a pass from Mike Gminski, sprinted down the floor, and soared for an easy dunk that sent the crowd into a frenzy. The Sixers defenders didn't even bother chasing. They knew better, but Barkley came right back, rejecting a layup attempt and flexing on the crowd like he owned the place. That fire only fueled Jordan's hunger. Moments later, MJ cut through the lane, caught a pass in midair, and threw down a violent dunk that sent shockwaves through the arena. A few possessions later, another slam, this time over Barkley himself. In just the first quarter, Jordan had already dunked 3 times. The message was loud and clear. He wasn't just here to play. He was here to dominate. Every possession felt like a heavyweight fight. Barkley using raw strength, Jordan using speed and precision. On one side, Charles was muscling defenders under the rim. On the other, Jordan was gliding through the air like gravity didn't apply to him. Philly stayed in the game early, Barkley hitting mid-range jumpers and keeping the score tight. But every time the Sixers started to build momentum, MJ answered. Whether it was a fadeaway, a pull-up jumper, or a quick drive, Jordan's offense seemed endless. He didn't just score, he adapted, found angles, adjusted midair, and made defenders look helpless. There's one play that summed up Jordan's mindset that night. He fought David Wingate for position the entire possession, shoving, pushing, refusing to give up an inch. He kept calling for the ball again and again, and when he finally got it, he spun and hit that perfect turnaround jumper. It wasn't just skill. It was willpower. That fire that made him impossible to guard. Even when the Sixers threw double teams at him, he found ways to score or set up his teammates. It was artistry disguised as competition. The first half ended with the Bulls up by just 3 points. Barkley had done everything he could to keep Philly alive, but Jordan wasn't even close to done. During the break, MJ knew he couldn't do it alone all night. So when the third quarter began, he shifted gears. He grabbed rebounds, pushed the pace, and started creating plays. He found Horace Grant under the basket for an easy dunk. Then again on the next possession, same result. Jordan was reading the defense like a book, orchestrating everything. When the Sixers tried to adjust, He punished them by attacking the rim or hitting that smooth jumper from the elbow. And defensively, he was a nightmare. Hershey Hawkins couldn't catch a break. Every time he thought he had a step, Jordan's hand appeared out of nowhere, stripping the ball or forcing a bad shot. He wasn't just the league's best scorer, he was its most complete player. His energy never dipped. He kept cutting off the ball, finding gaps in the defense, and finishing plays with ease. That third quarter was a masterclass in how to control a game from both ends. Jordan's IQ, timing, and instinct were unmatched. Even Barkley, known for his confidence and dominance, looked like he was running out of answers. By the time the fourth quarter arrived, the Bulls had all the momentum. Jordan continued dissecting Philly's defense with surgical precision. When they doubled him, he kicked the ball out to John Paxson for open shots. When they sagged, he hit jumper after jumper. The Sixers couldn't figure him out. Barkley fought to keep his team in it, bulldozing into the paint, drawing fouls, and making free throws. But every punch he threw, Jordan countered with something even deadlier. A mid-range fadeaway, a slick drive, a perfect pass. The man could do no wrong. You could see the frustration on Philly's faces. Every defensive scheme failed. They sent double teams, they switched defenders, they tried physicality. None of it worked. Jordan had reached that zone where every move looked effortless, every shot felt inevitable. By the time the final minutes arrived, the outcome was clear. Michael Jordan had completely dismantled the Sixers. The crowd knew they were witnessing something special. The Bulls bench stood in awe. Even Barkley could only shake his head in disbelief. When the buzzer sounded, Jordan's stat line read like a masterpiece. 33 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 5 steals. But those numbers barely told the story. What really mattered was the message he sent. That night, Michael Jordan didn't just beat Charles Barkley. He claimed ownership of the NBA's future. The old guard, Magic, Bird, Kareem, were watching as the torch was being passed. Not gracefully, but forcefully ripped away. Jordan was no longer the promising young star. He was the standard. The future had officially arrived. Fans who were lucky enough to witness that game didn't just see highlights. They saw a shift in basketball history. This was the moment people realized Michael wasn't chasing greatness anymore. He was defining it. Barkley, for all his talent and fight, couldn't stop what was coming. The Bulls weren't a dynasty yet, but the foundation was right there, built on the relentless drive of one man who refused to be outshined. In the years that followed, Barkley would go on to have his own legendary moments, even winning MVP in 1993. But that 1988 showdown? It stayed burned into memory. It was more than a game. It was a declaration, a warning shot to every other star in the league. Jordan had arrived, and the league would never look the same again. He had proven he wasn't just part of the new generation. He was the generation. That night in Chicago, when the lights dimmed and the crowd finally began to leave, everyone knew they'd just witnessed the future unfold in real time. The intensity, the dunks, the swagger. It all became part of Jordan's myth. He wasn't waiting for anyone to crown him. He took it himself. And as for Barkley, he walked off knowing that even on his best night, he just faced something different. Something inevitable. The rise of a legend that would dominate the entire basketball world for years to come. From that moment on, every team, every player, every fan understood. Michael Jordan wasn't just playing basketball anymore. He was rewriting its history, one breathtaking performance at a time. And what made that night even more unforgettable was how it symbolized everything that separated Jordan from everyone else. It wasn't just the stats or the highlights. It was the mentality. Barkley was one of the fiercest competitors the league had ever seen, but Jordan's will to win went beyond competition. He didn't just want to beat you. He wanted to break your spirit, to make sure you never forgot who you were up against. Every time Barkley pushed back, Jordan responded with more aggression, more focus, and more brilliance. You could see it in his eyes. This wasn't just about basketball. It was about dominance, legacy, and proving that no one in the league could match his fire. By the fourth quarter, every possession felt personal. The crowd hung on every dribble, every step back, every dunk. The Sixers tried to trap him, body him, frustrate him, but Jordan turned pressure into fuel. When he hit that turnaround jumper over 2 defenders with less than 3 minutes left, the arena erupted. Fans could feel they were witnessing the birth of something unstoppable. The Bulls weren't just winning a game. They were witnessing the evolution of their leader into something beyond human. Even Barkley, as competitive as he was, couldn't help but show respect. After the game, there were no excuses, no trash talk, just the quiet acknowledgement between 2 warriors who understood what had just happened. Jordan had crossed a threshold that few athletes ever reach. He wasn't just great anymore. He was inevitable. Every player in the league knew that from this point forward, facing the Bulls meant facing destiny itself. And for the fans, that night became a lasting reminder of what made Michael Jordan the ultimate competitor. He didn't wait for the stage to be perfect or for the stakes to be high. He made every night feel like a championship moment. Whether it was November or June, he brought the same hunger, the same obsession, and the same brilliance. That game against Barkley wasn't just another chapter in his career. It was the night he showed the world that greatness doesn't wait. It takes over, and it never lets go.